Let's talk about flaky tests. Flaky tests are non-deterministic tests. Gradle Enterprise detects flakiness by rerunning failed tests within the same build execution. When failed tests succeed after retrying, we classify them as flaky. Flaky tests are not the only unreliable tests. Some tests are deterministic, but they have failure clusters at certain time periods because of certain environmental conditions. For example, because services are down. The test failure analytics that we have shown previously can help you to identify those. One thing I cannot emphasize enough is that rerunning failed tests is a good detection mechanism for flakiness, but a terrible remedy. First, tests can be flaky because the test logic is flaky, but a test can also be flaky because the code under test is flaky. By rerunning them until they succeed, without fixing them, you ship flaky behavior to your users and customers. Second, if you don't fix flakiness, flakiness will accumulate. This increases the build and test time and wastes valuable compute resources. Finally, a flaky test can fail with a probability of 1% or 99%, so relying on retries to address the problem still results in a growing number of builds that fail because of flaky tests. Now that I got this off my chest, let's do something about flakiness. Here you can see the test dashboard with flaky test detection enabled. By being able to identify the flaky tests and their impact and fix the most impactful ones first, we can get them under control. On the test failure dashboard, I can identify end-to-end test as the worst flaky test. It is flaky more than 40% of the time. I can look at the details of this test to learn which test methods are responsible for this. Now that this test was identified, our developers prioritized fixing it. In the meantime, I discovered something else. When I filtered for local builds, I learned that developers are not running end-to-end test locally at all. And here we can see why. They're running local builds, but everyone is excluding the end-to-end test when running tests. This is one of many examples where Gradle Enterprise not just helps you to optimize your toolchain, but it also gives you insights about organizational behavior and how the toolchain is used. Okay, our developers told me that end-to-end test has been fixed. Let's look at the data 1 week later. We can see that the flakiness is gone. When we filter just for local builds, we can also see that the developers are no longer excluding this test. This once useless test and annoying piece of code is now a valuable addition to our local NCI quality gate. After fixing many of the flaky tests, we can see that the overall number of test failures has actually increased. Is that a bad thing? Not at all. It means that our automated tests are used more frequently and are now doing a better job to find real problems in our code under test. Did we get rid of all the flaky tests? There's still some, and there will always be. Like you're never done vacuuming, you will never be done fixing flaky tests. And some tests have so little flakiness that you might be okay to live with it for that particular test. Gradle Enterprise enables you to make such nuanced decisions. The test dashboard also connects you with the build scans. When we look at the details of a particular test method, it provides a list of build scans for those cases where the build has failed or flaky tests. The build scan itself also tells you that a test was flaky, which is useful when you're troubleshooting an individual build failure.